Hello, I am Andy Grant. Welcome to Real Men Feel. We are honored to have you join us today, and hopefully you've joined us many times before, but if not, welcome to the whole experience. Real Men Feel is all about creating a place for men to be allowed and encouraged to express whatever emotions is showing up for them. This isn't about being happy and smiling all the time, and it's not about being angry and miserable all the time. It's about allowing you as a man to be human and to express all of the full emotional range that you have available to you as a human being. So we are live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern doing a live recording. We're then syndicated to YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. I encourage you to subscribe to us at iTunes. You can do that easily by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can also connect with us in a number of ways on social media. You can follow us on Twitter at realmenfeel.org, and you can become a true fan of the show on Facebook at facebook.com/realmenfeel. Again, this is a weekly program. We last about 30 or 40 minutes. You don't have to be a man to listen or enjoy or even be a guest. We have had actually many females join us in full participation, and it's been a wonderful experience. All links mentioned in the show are captured in show notes, which you can find at realmenfeel.org. And let's see, now that all the manly housekeeping is out of the way, I think we can get on to the proper show. So I want to introduce and welcome my friend and co-host, as always, Appio Hunter.
Hey, Andy.
How are you doing today?
It's great, and it's good to be back with you, the two of us back on the show again. We've been out of sync these past few weeks.
Yeah, it's real. Okay, this is the first time in a month that we have both been together for a show.
Yeah.
In late September, my dad had some health concerns, so I had to bail out of a show very quickly. It was when you talked to Joseph Culp.
Right, exactly.
The men, Welcome to the Men's Group, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took a week off because I was actually on vacation, and I went to Utah, where you live.
I know, and it's like you were like 30 minutes away from my house, and I didn't even get a chance to see it. But I totally understand because you were busy with your buddies, so totally okay.
And then last week we thought we'd be back, but last minute you had to cancel, and it was much more. And I wanted to. I didn't call out in the show because I wanted to, and you couldn't make the show because you chose to spend time with your grandchildren.
Right.
And I was like, right, yeah. And that exemplifies real men feeling.
Absolutely.
Right? Like putting that as a top priority. And so I just want to honor you for that choice and really call it out too.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. It's been amazing. They're still here. They're still here until Monday, but my husband decided to go ahead and take them down to see their cousin, the third grandchild, who's just about 40 minutes south of where we live, and give me a little bit of space we can do the show because he knows how important this show is to me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, so since the time that we haven't communicated, and I don't think I've shared it with the show, I did write a blog post about this. My stepmother passed September 9th, and she wasn't someone that I'd ever lived with, and when she was birthed into my life, I was really against her. I was like 6 or 7 years old when I met her, and you can't replace my mom, and I treated her like crap, but I really got to appreciate her the more I grew up, and as adults, we had a really great relationship. She really became friends with my wife, Lori. But she passed, and is really a good passing.
Yeah.
And because she was, we would often talk about depression and suicide because she certainly knew where I was, and her training was in early childhood development. And she'd often tell me that, watching my parents fight over me and twist me and use me to send money back and forth in alimony, she's like, "Oh, you're destroying this boy." She wasn't allowed to say anything. But she also dealt with depression and suicidal thoughts in a different way, and that she went about 35 years without ever seeing a doctor. So She was very sick. She was in chronic pain all the time and just refused to see a doctor. Really, it's almost like I would call it like the slow drip of suicide. I'm gonna intentionally not seek help. I'm not gonna care about my physical self until I die.
Boy, it sounds almost like what my mom is going through. Yeah.
Still dealing that? Is she still acting that way?
She is still acting that way. She refuses to go to doctors. She refuses to do anything. She does not trust doctors at all. And it seems like, law of attraction. What you think about, you bring about. And so every time she goes to the doctor, nothing. And it's true. There's nothing. So it's like, why bother?
Yes.
I totally can relate.
Yeah. So she was finally enough pain and throwing up blood in May and June. She went to the hospital, but she refused most tests because, like, whatever you find, I'm not going to treat it. So they were very confused. So she went home and, went into palliative care and hospice care. And that's where Lori, my wife, really was the primary caregiver and set things up and was seeing her every day until she finally passed.
Yeah.
But throughout all this, we always thought my dad was going to die first. He's had cancer for 5 years and counting. He's got dementia, diabetes, heart disease. It just goes on and on and on. And he also has a history of mental illness and bipolar and depression. So we really thought, he's going to crash in a big way. And fortunately, that hasn't happened. But while I was away in Utah on vacation, which was a vacation with 7 of my high school buddies and then a couple from college. So sometimes we had 10 people out there. Oops, are we back? All right, I'm going to keep talking.
No, I'm back. I'm here.
Okay, I got a little internet warning message there.
Okay. Yeah, me too. All
right, so we'll just keep rolling.
Can you still see me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're still here. All right.
Yeah.
So I had this big vacation with 7 high school buddies and a couple college friends. So it's sometimes out in Utah, in Moab, we were a group of 10, and at our weakest, we were a group of 8. And it was really awesome experience. And I had never been there, and we were hiking and mountain biking and hit Arches National Park and running all over Moab, and went into Colorado for Mesa Verdes National Park. Went on to Canyonlands and Capitol Reef and Zion and Bryce and all these places I'd never been. And I kept doing energy work each day. Like, what would it take for today to top yesterday, or to top the day before? And each day kept getting better and better and bigger and bigger. And these are a lot of the guys I've known for the longest time. They knew me through depression. They knew me attempting suicide in high school. And a couple of them have had experiences with energy work and coaching and workshops, but most of them not. But it was like sometimes they would pull into a parking lot. Oh, we're never going to find a place to park. Like, watch what you're saying. Yeah, thoughts become things. We're going to turn that around right now. Say you're finding a parking spot. Like, oh yeah, okay, right away. I'm sorry. And
I'm playing that game with folks.
Yeah, it's all good. And at each national park, I would kind of do some, I call them a little bit of shamanic rituals, and just really helping myself get present and grounded and appreciating where I am. And, they could have said things, but they would just stop and like kind of watch and be quiet and making this solemn face because they were afraid to interrupt whatever I'm doing. But I had a lot of fun with that and the place, and just the notion that all these guys were together. We shared one condo for a couple of nights, then we split into 2, but everyone still came out friends. there was a big drama,
Well, usually with guys, that's generally true. We have a way of being able to get along well, particularly if we're having fun, especially if we're having fun. Yeah. Where we can be challenged is when we're in one of those circles where we start sharing the more intimate parts of ourselves that we would rather keep hidden.
Yeah,
kind of like the men's group with Joseph Colt, and that was absolutely where things can really kind of surface and so forth. So I'm curious about something. When you were going to the different national parks, 2 questions. First of all, which one was your favorite? And second one, where was your most powerful energy experience in which of the parks?
Oh. So the most powerful experience is probably because it was the first one. And the first park I went to was Arches. And that was the first place I stood and saw, and just like, so I really felt things there. And we got there. It was crowded like Disneyland to get in. And we went straight to the back and did Devil's Garden Trail, which is the rear of the park. So it was really nice and deserted. There was nobody but us. And so that, it just, the amazing solitude. Like I can't, like I've been to the Grand Canyon, and in every park in Utah, every horizon looked like infinite Grand Canyon. like where did this end? That was the really amazing, infinite, wow, limitless experience.
Yeah.
So the first one, the Arches really hit me with that. And again, it's like the close second, or 1A, 1B. Then it was Bryce, because just every corner, it was just new. Like, wow, that shape with this color is like, wow. It just, just nonstop amazement.
Yeah, it's interesting usually because those are my 2 choices as well. Arches, hands down, is my first choice, but a close second would be Bryce Canyon. Yeah.
And so we had a full day and multiple hikes at each place, and like I could still so easily go back. And that's how I would hate to be at a place like, all right, I'm sick of this. Let's move on. So I'm really glad, like, oh, they're both places I would visit again.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. And I feel really fortunate to be so close to them. Yeah. Although actually, when something is in your backyard, you tend to take it for granted. So it's been about 5 years, actually, since I've been to the parks. Well, I've been to Yellowstone multiple times.
Oh, so that's still a place I've never been.
Oh,
but two of the friends in my group have visited Utah and Bryce and Zion 15 times.
Wow.
So we really had some built-in tour guides. So at one point we went off. It was in between traveling from Moab up to Bryce. Someone read about this place called Spooky Gulch. And we went 28 miles down a dirt road onto another dirt road. By the time we get there, the sun is setting and it's a slot canyon. We're like, well, screw it. Let's go anyway. So we're going through a slot canyon and the sun's gone. It's pitch dark. And it's narrower and narrower, and I'm like contorting myself trying to get through, and it was so tight. My shirt ripped open, and the back of my coat is shredded by the time I got out because I couldn't get through it all.
Wow!
All right, this is when I'm screaming. I'm like giving birth inside this thing to get myself through.
Kind of like that one movie.
Just the moonlight is the only light there is. But
how beautiful! How beautiful! And it reminds me of that one movie came out a couple of years ago about the guy who got stuck in the slot.
Yes, that's exactly. Yeah. And luckily, it was amazing. So I came back, my back, I've had the chiropractor visits 3 times since Spooky Gulch had me retching, going different shapes I wasn't meant to. But
that's one gulch I had not heard of, so I'm going to have to go check
it. Yeah. Because I'd love to see what it looks like in the day. But we went to see what it looked like in day, but we had they were bats and stuff. It was just like,
wow. Lives up to its name, right?
Yes.
I guess it also teaches you a whole new definition of sucking it in or sucking it up, right?
Yeah, because I could suck in my gut, but I'm like, it's my breastbone I can't move beyond this thing anymore. And, my buddies that were in the lead are, one is like, 5'6", 140 pounds. And that's who got all the way through everything. And I'm like, I'm not going to, I'm going to give up trying to force myself to follow the lead of someone.
Yeah, exactly. The skinny guy, the short, skinny guy.
Yeah. But again, it was a real blast. And they were adventure parts and just tourist parts, and everyone got along. And there were a couple times I really just stepped back. We had like those night around a campfire and stuff. And, and I was just, I walked across the street to take a piss. And I looked back at my friends, and I was in tears. And it's like, man, this just doesn't get old. Stuff I've been doing with these guys since high school, and then just felt so fortunate that I think we had a trip 25 years ago. We thought we'll do this all the time, and it took 25 years for all of us to do it again. So again, we've all committed that it won't take us that long, but you don't know.
Right, exactly. You have no idea how long is going to get in the way of everything else. In fact, last time that you and I were in Key West together, we had a similar conversation. So we gotta do this again soon, and soon.
It's been over a year since we've seen each other in the flesh.
Exactly. Yeah, and it was January. Yeah, you're right. Over a year. Yeah. Dang. Okay.
So last week with Gary Kyle on, and we're talking about the importance and actually the necessity of men crying, of how it helps us emotionally, physically. Mm-hmm. And I've never had a problem with that. And in fact, being a crier made me question that, I'm not a real man because I cry easily.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we can rephrase and reframe what all that really means. And that's a big part of the show and our sharing as well. But so I'm weepy there and I'm feeling stuff. And then another night, a guy I see the least who, brainstormed and had us all scheduled down to the hour of where we'd go. He just grabbed me and said, it's so good to see you. And I love you, man. And I'm just like, I love you too. And just, getting the tears going. And we could have been in a bad deodorant ad or something. But, we just had these really nice moments over and over and over. And it was just splendid. But while I was there, I got a message from my wife that my dad was taken to the hospital. And right before I left, the reason that I missed the last show that I thought we'd both be on,
right?
My dad was at a doctor's appointment with my wife and got told that he was in end-stage renal failure. And they said it just like, you must know this, right? And they were like, well, no one has said this. What's going on? So we're researching that, and it says days to weeks to live. So quickly the next day we see the nephrologist. And it took me a long time. I kept saying nerfologist, but he doesn't study nerf. It's
nephrologist. And that sounds nefarious. Just
yes.
the name.
So they need a better name for the kidney specialist. But anyway, he looks at all the data and doesn't come across as that dire at all. So like, all right, I guess he's gonna live. I'll go on my vacation.
Yeah.
But so he went in, and this while he's in the hospital, and the reports coming back from my wife are heart renal failure, congestive renal failure, and kidney renal failure. He's like drowning his own fluids, and just things are not looking good.
Oof.
And I was just like, oh, don't have another person in my family die and have it be on Lori's watch and her dealing with the burden of this and all that. So
right.
He made it till the day I got home. He got out of the hospital the next day with more drugs and more disorders and diagnoses, and it just makes no freaking sense because I see him today. He's already decided he's off the oxygen he's supposed to be on. He looks 10 years younger than he did on 3 days ago, and it's like he just gets pissed off. Like, you think I'm going to die? Well, I'll show you, and he'll get a burst of health.
It's like, I swear, sometimes I think we must have the same pair of parents. My mom goes through the same thing. My dad even went through very similar things before he transitioned back in February. Similar stuff where you would think, okay, on the edge, and then a few days later, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to stick around a while longer.
Yeah. So during all this, so I'm combating with the fun and kind of with the guilt that's going at home, but we get home, everything's cool. And then it's time to deal with the estate of my stepmother, who had a good size estate. She had built this home so that they could both live in it, live in care, could be in this home and take care of them both instead of anyone ending up in a nursing home. She took great care of my dad, paid for his insurance to make sure everything's covered and stuff. And for years, she had been telling Lori and I that, you're in my will and it's important to me. And she even always, because she was quite a feminist, explicitly made, I'm leaving something to Lori and to you. So that even if you two split, Lori gets remembered. Right? So,
I love that.
Funny thing she did. And while going through all of her affairs and take care of cleaning up, because my dad just isn't capable of doing that. And I was having a lot of fun finding old pictures. And we had found that she had saved every letter I'd ever sent to her, and pictures of our wedding were in this box. And so all these little mementos of what she saved, almost like every birthday card we'd ever sent her, we found in a box. And we also found this letter to her attorney from 2010 listing the amounts of money to Lori, the amounts of money to me. And and it was substantial. I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. So we had weeks of high vibration and gratitude and oh, praise be to Marilyn. And this is fantastic. And, earlier this week, we hear from the lawyer representing the estate. We're not named in it at all. He had never seen that letter that we had found. So, but the face that you're making, the bottom dropped out, betrayal and confusion and heartbreak. Could this been a conscious decision? Did she just forget horribly? Was she in worse shape mentally than we thought?
Right.
And so we're still going through that. And she also left nothing for my dad. So
so it's so now it goes into probate and it has to go through that
she has an estate. She has it. It's just it doesn't mention me, Lori, or my dad. He gets the right to live in this house, but he got no money as well.
Wow. Does she have any other children or anything like that? Or?
No siblings, no children. The closest kin are a couple cousins.
Okay.
So just super confused. Everyone that was around her best friends, this makes no sense. Everyone's in shock. And my dad is feeling so because he's like, I thought you did. I'm like, yeah, that letter that we found matches everything they've ever told us for years. But it was never, it didn't get to the attorney, it's like it didn't exist.
Right, exactly.
So, and this was really all these things coming together in the sake of the show. And I don't always like feeling. It's not always fun to be a real man who feels.
Sometimes it sucks.
Yeah. This time, the estate was made when they lived in Florida for a while, when my stepmom was taking care of her dying parents. And then they've lived back in Massachusetts then. But I was sure, all right, these attorneys fucked up. I'm sure in Florida, I'm going to beat the snot out of every fucking person in this office who lost this letter from 2010 and is trying to fuck with us now.
Right, yeah.
And Lori is upset in a different way. She's like, if this woman loved me so much and kept telling me that, why didn't she make sure things were proper and in order?
Sure.
And when we first got, I couldn't stay. I like bolted. I left. I had to go drive. I wanted to get drunk. I wanted to get in a fight. I had all this rage that had nowhere to go.
Sure.
And then I would, kind of just go in and try to connect and be intuitive. And I just get this wasn't her intention. Like she believed we were being taken care of and everything was in order. But there's this horrible disconnect.
It's a curious thing because when a letter is written, this is actually not the first time I've heard of something like this happen, where somebody writes the letter, they make sure it's all taken care of, all their intentions are clearly stated, and because it's been written and printed and even signed, they just life continues on and everything else. And in their mind, very clearly, it's done, it's taken care of. But that step, final step.
With her will, with her cremation prepaid papers, was this letter spelling it all out. Right. So fantastic. And just like, what? So again, the bottom dropped out, and
boy, talk about feeling. And
sometimes I want to feel. I sometimes want to get drunk. Sometimes I just want to say, fuck it all. The next, a couple of my buddies got together last weekend to talk about Utah, and this was the day after we discovered this. And I said, I'm around. I'm not doing anything, but I'm going to be bouncing between bawling and wanting to punch somebody. And I don't want to put you guys through that. I know it's not going to be fun.
I haven't seen you in 25 years. We haven't been on one of these trips in 25 years. So I don't want to punch any of you.
So I just really wanted to, share all this and talk about it openly to model how it is. And, it doesn't always feel good to be willing to feel.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest part of it. Like being willing to be uncomfortable with my own shit and not understand and be confused and frustrated.
Sure.
But instead of bearing it, instead of just sitting on it, because easily, not long ago, hide in bed, sulk, or I'd go on a bender, just be drunk for 3 days and just black this out, or do some sort of way to act out and, well, fuck you, world. I'm going to act like I inherited this money and go buy a lot of shit that I can't pay for.
Yeah, buy things I don't need with money I don't have to impress people I don't like. Yeah, right. I've done that retail therapy too many times. Yeah. It's fascinating that you should talk about, having those feelings and being okay, even being okay with not being okay with it. Because, I went through such a very similar process fairly recently myself. And, to the point where I ended up having to post something on my own personal blog. I'm thinking, you know what, I need to share this one to the Real Men Feel blog also. Because, you and I have talked about this before privately, and I don't know if we've really talked about it much on the show, but about how our emotions are a form of energy. And all energy runs in currents, whether it's an electrical current, an ocean current, an air current, whatever. There's always those currents that are going on. And so the best way for a current to go is to let it flow, keep flowing, and to keep flowing. And when we're real enough with ourselves, that we allow ourselves to just feel, and we allow ourselves those emotions to just keep flowing through us, it's okay. I mean, I very recently, when I was going through one of those stages where I was just pissed off, I was ready to just go apeshit on a lot of different folks, and it wouldn't have been pretty. I mean, I would have probably burned a lot of bridges had I let go completely. And I kept using one of my exercises, which is, it's okay. It's okay that it's okay that I'm feeling angry, and it's okay that I'm frustrated, and listing all the emotions. And eventually what ended up happening was I was like, no, I'm not okay with this. And then I'm like, okay, light bulb moment. It's okay that I don't feel okay with any of this. And suddenly, gone.
Yeah, that a hard lesson for me to learn is acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with everything. It's just like you accept that everything sucks, or you're not sure how to feel right now. And that is just the first step to then removing that block, removing the resistance.
And that's one of the big reasons why I choose not to use the word acceptance, because in our society, and especially with men, acceptance tends to have a significance of capitulation, of giving up, of just not wanting to strive for something better. So I've consciously chosen to always use the term be okay with something instead, because it doesn't have the same emotional baggage or societal conditioning associated with it. And, when you're okay with something, not only are you giving yourself a lot of space to be able to wiggle, you're also saying, I'm giving myself permission to look for something better, to move on, to get something better. So yeah, I've almost taken the word acceptance completely out of my vocabulary, except in certain rare circumstances.
Right. Yeah. Just gotta be okay with things not being okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it won't always feel okay.
Yeah,
even though in the big picture, I can step back and go, no, everything's fine. But no, it isn't.
It's bullshit. No, it isn't.
Yeah. Like I really, when I had kind of like so again, instead of getting drunk and kind of old habits, I'm driving around, I'm cranking up new Metallica song, I'm cranking up old Whitesnake that was in my car, and I'm guzzling freaking Gatorade. I'm like, well, I'm going to the gas station. Give me the 2-liter bottle. I've got to just drink something, and I'm just driving around going, fuck, until I felt better.
I mean, my go-to is Evanescence, the harshest Evanescence songs I can get. And same thing. I'm just like, just screaming at the top of my lungs so that nobody can hear me. And yeah, it feels good to be able to do that.
Yeah, because my favorite band is Metallica. Their new single is called Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And the chorus is, we're so fucked, shit out of luck. And I was like, when it first came out, I was like, well, that's pretty negative for them. I'm not sure if I like this song. I'm like, oh, I love this song now.
That's great.
We can always find healthy releases because whatever's going on, emotions want to be released. They want to be felt.
Absolutely.
And it's when we try to fight it that it makes it worse.
Oh yeah. It's like that dam. It's like putting that dam right there in the middle of the river, of that current. The pressure's going to build up, and boy, when the foundations of that dam, which there really are no foundations to an emotional dam, when they break, it ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. So,
but it's often needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's like even letting yourself wallow in it for a while is completely okay, because how else can we recognize that there's a release? If we are so caught up in the whole cycle and in the maelstrom and the whirlpool that's developed there in that current, we may not even recognize it, and we may not even recognize it going around in those circles. But yeah. So yay you for validating everything that you were going through. Yay you for acknowledging that you wanted to punch a few holes in a few walls.
Yeah,
and maybe that's something that we can do. Get a few 2x4s, make a little frame, and then put some drywall up on it, and then just punch a few holes through it, and then put new drywall up whenever we feel the need to go back to it.
Yeah. Actually, when I was coaching someone, and usually I coach people remotely, but I was coaching someone locally, and they just had a lot of pent up, never expressed anger and upset. They were very stoic and contained. And I just bought some used chairs at a yard sale. I was like, here, it's smash this, bend it down. He did it, and oh, release. And I still had one oh my God, a few years ago, I'm smashing this chair. And it's so yeah, there is a release and destruction.
Yeah.
And when it's something you choose to destroy as opposed to, things that you do like and people in your life.
Exactly. It's fantastic. And it's interesting because I noticed that it is different between men and women. Men really do like to just smash things apart. Women are okay with just smacking something. So with women, I have this for a rubber doll. It's called the Damn It doll. And they just grab it and they just whack it down. It's like, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it. I haven't really used that one with guys because fortunately most of the guys I've worked with have been open enough to be able to let go without having to go to the extreme of having to smash something apart. But I love the idea of the used chairs because I just might keep that in reserve.
Yeah. Yep. Just visit some yard sale, buy $4 items, or even here's your $4 and smash it at their yard sale. That would be a fun experience.
That would be a great one.
Real Men Feel undercover camera thing.
Okay. This brings up a total squirrel moment. Me, shiny squirrel. So, okay. Speaking of yard sales, I have a personal friend who their family was needing to they were moving to the big city. They lived out in the middle of nowhere. They were moving to a big city and they had a pet donkey that they needed to get rid of. And they wanted to find a good family for the pet donkey. And so they put up an ad and so forth. There wasn't necessarily a yard sale, but several people would come by and they're like, we don't know and so forth. Well, this one Vietnamese family shows up. all excited. I mean, about 12 of them all pile out of this van, and they're all looking at the donkey and all so excited. And the kids are like super excited and everything else. And they can tell that this family was just in love with their donkey. And so they go ahead and do the transaction, and they lead the donkey over to the trailer that they had hooked up to the back of the van. And as my friend and his family are all watching the donkey being loaded up, suddenly somebody one of the Vietnamese family pulls out a baseball bat, whacks the donkey on the head. Boom, done. It's like, don't have to tie it down or anything. It was their dinner.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, talk about the shock, Smashing chairs, I think, would be better than watching.
Yeah, a little less traumatic on everybody.
A lot less traumatic. Exactly.
I hate to visit a pet store with that family.
Right? Yeah, I'm like, well, no wonder they were all excited. I mean, here's like protein for a month.
Yeah. The buffet is open. So yeah, that's like travel with your own pet to get your dinner.
Yeah, I mean, they told me this story. I'm like, I was in shock. I mean, I'm kind of laughing about it now, but it was shocking at the time. I was just as horrified as they were. Yeah. But time does give you some perspective.
Yeah. Actually, I remember one of the first times I really learned how you could channel your aggression. I was in a mental hospital after a suicide attempt. I think I was 19, and they had those like bounce dolls that you can't knock down. They're weighted. They kept bouncing up like this thing. And then I would wail on that thing. And it was like, this is the, like, I forgot, like, oh, that's what you need to, like, there are now adult coloring books and lots of things. Oh, let's bring back some adult, dolls that you take your vengeance out on.
I think that'd be great. That reminds me of the little Weeblos when we were growing up. The Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. Yeah. One of my favorite things to do with those it would be to actually put them out in the road and have cars roll over them. The sound that they would make sounded like an exploding tire. Oh, I'm saying something I've never told anybody before. It's coming out in Real Men Feel. One of my favorite childhood things to do would be to take little Weebles and see how many cars would stop if they ran over it.
Wow. Yeah. Boy, and I thought I had quite a vandalism spree, and that's one that I had not heard of or done. So congrats.
It was awesome. It was like super awesome.
All right. Well, now as I'm perusing yard sales, destroying furniture, I'll be looking out for Weeblos too to stock up.
Right. Exactly. Stick them out on the road and see what happens.
Yeah, that'll keep the offended furniture owners from chasing me, right? They'll think they've blown a tire.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Oh, gosh.
Well, this has felt good, and I was calling this a Back to Basics episode because this program began for us to get together and talk again and share and be authentic and model that openness for I was going to say other men, but really just all people.
Yeah, for everybody, for humanity. This is one of those human things, because while we may be able to identify ourselves by our gender, the one thing that unites all of us is our humanity. And we are,
we like it or not.
Exactly. You remember our episode when I was channeling as Samuel, and I honestly don't know if we got into the whole gender thing or not during that episode. I have to go back and take a look at it. But
I know that's why it started. Like, that was the theme we were going for. But
yes, exactly. And then just what took a totally different direction. But in the non-physical realm, there is no gender. Gender tends to show up, and we choose our genders as we come here. And so, if you're one who believes in multiple lives, we've been both. And so the fact that we express ourselves in very specific ways while going through this particular life and in a particular gender, all that it means is that we decided to experience things from a particular perspective. But that still doesn't negate the totality of who we are.
Right. Yeah, it is just perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I know I enjoyed this. I hope others did it well. I do believe I've learned this enough that whatever's bubbling up for me, if I share it, it discovers that, wow, that same sort of thing is bubbling up for someone else. And even some other times that we were having a similar experience that we didn't even realize. Right?
Exactly. Well, that's the fun thing about you and I having been along this journey together, is that frequently we end up experiencing similar things at roughly the same time. So it's amazing, and that's certainly a way to honor you, brother. Absolutely.
Thanks. And just to share that, like, again, I hope the shows and listening, everyone gets something, gets what they need, learns things. Early last month, show, maybe 26 if someone's looking for it, but we talked to Boysen Hodgson from the Mankind Project, and he talked all about their big weekend event called the New Warrior Adventure Training. And so it was interested me enough that I looked at it, and it was coming up for me, and it's happening in Massachusetts where I live. It's happening this coming weekend, and I'm doing it. So the plan is for our next show next Tuesday, live at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to share my experience at the New Warrior Training Adventure Weekend. And it gets my attention to share whatever shows up, my full experience. However, as always, I retain the right to completely change my mind if something really whacked out or super personal or whatever, something, but again, I want to share what it's about, and honestly, to encourage guys to do it or discourage them, depending on like what shows up for me. But I'm also, I want to be delicate enough not to like kind of give any secrets away. So I don't want to,
absolutely,
I don't want to like destroy anybody else's surprise moments or ahas by sharing too much. But so I'm going to share a lot of what happens to be, not what other guys there go through.
Right.
I'm not sure how many. I think it's dozens of guys that are coming to this event. So it's not going to be just like 5 or 6 people.
Right.
I've been warned it's some outside stuff. I've been warned to bring towels. I might be thrown into the wilderness and hiking boots, and so we'll see. No one said nothing. No bats and donkeys have not been mentioned, so I think safe there. I hope
no bears or anything like that either.
I don't know. We have bears here. Yeah. So.
Well, I guess we can say that real men shit in the woods, also, right?
Yes, I will proudly report on that. If that's
awesome.
So
I'm definitely looking forward to the report on that.
Yeah, it should be. Hopefully, it's fun. It certainly should be interesting. But until then, everyone can check out realmenfeel.org, look at the notes, learn about the private Facebook group. We, again, encourage your comments during shows, between shows. Share what you want to hear about for future topics. We earlier were talking about doing some election special discussion in early November. And again, we'll put that on Facebook and on Twitter to let people know that they can, join in and take in part of the live discussion if they so choose. But I still can't believe I've spent 10 days in Utah and did not connect with you in person.
Dude, I know. But
I love Utah a lot, and I love you a lot. So I think it will happen.
Right, exactly. I mean, valid enough. And again, I understood what was going on, and you had your buddies, and truthfully, my grandkids had showed up also, and so we both had things that are kind of keeping us apart. I know that it'll happen again soon. Cool. Yeah, I might end up in Boston sometime in the near future, or the way it tends to work in our particular circle of friends is that we always end up seeing each other far away from where we actually live.
Yeah, right.
And we see each other in Key West or in other crazy places, never right where we actually live. So yeah, just has worked out that way.
All right. Well, thanks again for another great episode. I hope everyone listening and tuning in now, tomorrow, 50 years from the recording date. Hope you get some value out of this, and please join us again.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys later.
Be well. Bye-bye.